it was more pronounced. It's not as pronounced now, but it's still there. So yeah, I mean, look, plus 12% is pretty damn good for PulseX, Pulse Chain, Hex, all of those. The core coins, they're pumping. Atropa pumped. Atropa pumped 32%. It broke this little trend. So when I was charting this the other day before I lost all my charts, I mean, this stuff is so, like, honestly, I go back and listen to the things that I'm just like, this stuff that I'm sharing is like, I'm not really seeing depth of this kind of alpha. I don't know if that sounds arrogant or not, but I'm not seeing this kind of depth of alpha. Like, besides, I shouldn't say besides Sommi, there's still alpha out there, but like this degree of alpha is like elite. So, you know, just having the Don in here telling us, like, what other channels did he go on to say it's going to break out in 2 days? And it did. It broke out. It broke out of this channel. It came back and retested the channel, and now it's confirmed. It's confirmed bullish now. So now it's really confirmed bullish. It broke this. So this, again, this is all things that I'm learning from the Moon King. This is all things that I'm learning from the Moon King. And so it broke this. So it formed a higher low for a start, and then it broke the recent high. Now, the Moon King, for complete confirmation, would to the best of my knowledge, basically would want to see something like this. So it would come back and it would retest this, and then it would take off. But as we know, with things like pDAI and Atropa, I mean, Atropa is a bit more steady, but with pDAI, it's like, yeah, when it runs, it really runs. So obviously, what's this done now? This also, pDAI now is almost 2 cents. So it's really looked like this was the low here. It tried to come back down to the 1 cent mark. It very, very, very bullishly rejected the 1 cent mark. And again, it's broken this recent local high. So it's broken this recent local high. Again, if we go off, say, the Moon King style, then again, it would have to reconfirm this by basically bouncing off this. So when, like, he would basically share, like, this would probably be a time to buy. So in his laws of meme coins, those are the kinds of things that he'd be looking out for. So also, we're having an increase in volume. We're having a slight increase in volume, but to be perfectly honest, this is probably more so being dragged up by pDAI. So pDAI itself is actually dragging it up. So now the piece of confirmation for me was not only these two little signals here, but it was this. It was this signal here. So I've had this line sitting on here for a while, and this is Heiken-Ashi, and the candle, the wick has now broken through, and the body is forming. So this is Heiken-Ashi, yes, but essentially when it's going sideways like this, I was showing that this is bearish. When it's going sideways, or when down is going up against Atropa, then it's bearish. So sideways is bearish, up against Atropa is bearish. Now, when down is going bearish against Atropa, the way that I'm assessing that is liquidity is flowing from down into Atropa. So then liquidity is flowing from down into Atropa, pumping Atropa, and then probably also pumping pDAI as well. So those liquidity flows are flowing around and through the ecosystem. So now, if we have a look at if there's any signs here, I haven't actually looked at this. So I'm going to be looking at this for the first time on the stream. Is there any signs here? Yeah, there is. There is a sign here. So basically that validates exactly what I just said. So down. So basically the way that you can look at this is liquidity flowed from down. So it started to push through these levels, and before the body was down here. So it started to push through these levels. So yesterday I showed it where the wick was kind of just touching. Now it's pushed through. So down has flowed into Atropa, and then Atropa has flowed into pDAI, because we can see this in this red candle, and pDAI is pumped. And consequently then, against the US dollar, Atropa has also pumped. This is the beauty of the Atropa ecosystem. This is the beauty of this totality of the system. And this is only just one piece of the puzzle. Then if we have a look at Teddy Bear's broken all-time highs against Pulse Chain. It's just, it did 32.77% move today in 24 hours. So for me, I'm looking at all this and it's like, we're back. That's how I feel. Could be wrong. Maybe I've missed something, but from all my indicators, from all the ways that I've been assessing the charts, for me, it's like, okay, I feel very confident now. We're now entering the next phase of the bullish the bullish market of the Atropa ecosystem, which is also the bullish market of pDAI. That's how I feel now. So if you haven't packed your bags yet, yeah, I think you're basically going to just be buying green candles. The one thing that you might hope on is a scenario like this, where it goes up and it comes back down and retests this. That might be the last opportunity, and that might be the lowest that it's ever going to be. So I really wanted to share that. And then BHP Source, so on Twitter. So when I shared this tweet today, he said, how's that contractor play that has sold down 40K, 46K worth of down today into Atropa? So just minting a ton of pulse through some contract interaction. So he basically shared that this contract is 3 days old, according to DBank. It's been selling a ton of assets. I'm not going to go through the whole thing here because I'm actually perfectly honest. To be perfectly honest, this is not really my forte. Like looking at DBank sort of stuff, it's not really my thing. But yeah, so there's almost really no point bringing it up. But basically, what he was saying is this wallet somehow, this 3-day-old wallet somehow has been minting Pulse Chain, which I imagine is maybe like pumping down and then selling down into Atropa. That's the way that I'm kind of looking at it. So there's all these little liquidity flows and bits and pieces that are happening. So again, looking at the total system, not looking at any one individual token. Oh, down is going down. Oh, I've got a big bag of down and it's going down. The devs are selling down, but what else are they doing with the down? Where else is it flowing into? That's really the important thing. That's the important piece of the puzzle for me. So yeah, I think, yeah, here we go. So this thing is, I don't know what it's doing, but whatever it's doing, it's like continuously minting. I mean, there's 113,000 pulse, 12,000 pulse, 30,000 pulse. I don't know what it's doing. I'll be honest. If anyone knows what it's doing, if anyone has any guesses, please share away. Oh, Neon. Interesting, because I've been seeing things about Neon, unless someone like airdropped Neon here. So now this has got 51 million pDAI. I mean, if whatever it's doing, it's doing some sort of execution. So 50 seconds ago, another 44,000. So just, yeah, it's just like spamming this. It's spamming whatever this is. So then this pulse chain is probably then, yeah, like I said, going into maybe down, which is then going into Atropa. I don't know, but that's pretty cool. So there's another cool little piece of blockchain evidence. So this is the thing. It's like, we can speculate as much as we want, but yeah, the evidence is, it's on the chain. That's how I feel. So I don't know how you guys feel as well. So all right, so before we get on to the next section, I'll bring the charts. I will leave these charts here because let's just stare at these charts while I address these comments, because these charts are just, is there a better chart than this? Not only this, by the way, I forgot to bring this up actually, the freaking Richard Hart tweet about pDAI. I forgot to bring that up. Did I bookmark it? I don't think I did, but Richard Hart again tweeted about pDAI and saying how it's done thousands and thousands and thousands of X's. And this is an opportunity for everybody on this particular blockchain. So look, everyone sees these things as FUD, and it's like, not everyone sees these things as FUD. People see these things as very, very bullish. Obviously, when Richard tweets about it and doesn't say a negative thing about it, people read that as like, okay, he's behind it or whatever, or he's not FUDding it, so that's bullish. I also read it in that manner as well. I also read it as like, okay, this is like, he's not saying anything bad against it. But then again, yeah, again, trying to be as neutral as possible. I feel like he's just being neutral. I feel like he's just objectively saying things as they are. And I feel like he's probably done that from the start of Pulse Chain. He hasn't really like said anything bad against this or positive against that. He simply showed things as they are. So even when it's like a bullish Richard Hart core coins, like the 4 core coins, he's really just presenting to you the information. Okay, this is what's happened. They're all green today. And isn't this great? He doesn't say, okay, buy this thing now, but he doesn't FUD it either. So it seems like it's a very neutral perspective, but really there's this chart, and what a beautiful chart. And if people come to this blockchain just to dump their pDAI, no problem. Come and dump your pDAI, come and dump your 10-cent pDAI, fill up our liquidity pools. The liquidity providers will get rewarded with the volume, no problem. You guys just sell out those tokens because they're probably not going to believe in the dollar narrative. They're just going to think, oh, I've got free tokens over here. And that's also more bullish. The more of those tokens that go into liquidity, the more chance it has of getting to $1. So even though There's going to be sellers along the way, people outside of the blockchain. You know, that was a FUD point. Like, oh, what about all these people who hold like millions of pDAI or, you know, like hundreds of millions of pDAI, all these whales that don't even know anything about Pulse Chain. They'll just come and dump it. Come and dump it. Come and fill up our liquidity pools, and then it just gets converted into buy pressure. So that sell pressure gets deleted, gets converted into buy pressure. Take your money, and then you can just leave the chain, no problem. Or again, that's the negative perspective. The positive perspective is they'll come here and go, what's going on here? I've got tens of millions of these pDAI tokens and they're worth 10 cents. What the hell? How did this happen? What's going on here on Pulse Chain? Oh my gosh, there's this PRC20 narrative. There's the Atropa ecosystem. There's PTGC, there's X, there's Tangang. There's this whole life that's happening on this blockchain that I had no idea about. I'm going to start providing liquidity here. I'm going to start bridging over some of my assets from Ethereum and Solana and wherever else. Like there's always two sides to the same coin. So most people who don't want this to succeed and only want you to buy their coins will say the negative perspective, of course, because their perspective is skewed. So, I mean, even Too Spooky. So Too Spooky in the Dysnomia chat the other day basically mentioned something about, or there was a tweet of his about how like retarded the Atropa Pt I people are, and you know if we didn't get sucked into this scam, then we could all help pump dick with butt, and that would bring eyeballs to the chain. And yeah, I mean, there's definitely some validity to that, but let's expand that concept and actually, you know, what we're talking about, what he's talking about there is like unifying our liquidity into something to make it pump. But unfortunately for him, the vast majority of the chain, well, the majority of the chain seems to be more interested in the narrative of the P stables. Dick with butt is just another meme. It's like, okay, it's just one of billions and billions of memes. So what? This is far more interesting. So even if it's all crackpot theories, it's still bringing eyeballs to the chain, and I would suspect it's still going to bring more eyeballs to the chain than really any other thing that's happening on this blockchain. Ivan on TechBort, for goodness sakes. He didn't come and buy dick with butt. He came to buy pDAI. So yeah, let's like the concept of unity, the core message of unity in his tweet was brilliant, but it's like misguided unity. It's unity towards a thing which benefits him the most. The unity which benefits all of us the most is actually getting united around the totality of the blockchain. I'm not saying let's get united around pDAI, but it definitely is the thing which is the hottest narrative. So while I leave this beautiful, sexy, what a chart, what an absolutely glorious chart. Like this is art. This is art. It's glorious. So thank you so much, Matt. I always appreciate your support, man. So thank you for looking forward to my streams. Thank you for always being here and commenting. So yes, Puffy, very, very exciting. Pedro. So obviously this is not the Pedro from Twitter, but yeah, I've got a bone to pick with Pedro's. Well, not a bone to pick, but yeah, thanks TS Pedro. There was another Pedro who's been fudding XUSD, so I want to address those in the next segment. So everything is definitely lining up. Like it's just, like how good can it? I don't know, how many more signals do we need? That's how I feel. Like how it just seems like all the things are lining up, and if for me it's just. What's beautiful is the convictions that I'm having and continue to have are just slowly unraveling right before my eyes. So what's going on, Rocky Balboa? Solana can suck everyone's balls, to be honest. So Solana stinks. There's really not much happening there. So I'm in it for the glory and love. Me too, man. Huzzers, what's going on? Yeah, that has also just mooned to the absolute, like, amazingness. So what's up, Hexicans? I'm here for the tech and the girls. I'll take the money too while I'm here. In fact, a little disappointed that crypto has gone so meme, as I like the innovation in DeFi. I would agree with this. I think it's a tricky thing. The thing which attracted me most to crypto in the first place was the DeFi and the tech, the concept. It's like, okay, we don't need banks anymore. This is revolutionary. But then what really got me into it was the money. But this is why Pulse Chain is by far the goated, like without exception, simply because, well, really, to be perfectly honest, simply because of the Atropa ecosystem. There's nothing like it on the planet. So as a DeFi invention, everyone's going to be doing the Atropa ecosystem in the future. And it's just, it just blows my mind that still people aren't really. I heard Matty Allen saying that he's only started finding out about like liquidity webs thanks to St. Wolf's streams. And I was like, Matty Allen, like how's he only just heard about this? This is wow, like wow. So even the most staunch maxis are still not getting what's actually happening on this blockchain. So, but Matty, that's no criticism against Matty because he's open-minded and he's into pDAI. So good on you, Matty. So after RH's recent wraps Bitcoin and DAI tweets, everyone is going mental for those coins, but they are all forgetting this is all part of the Atropa ecosystem. Maria, due more credit for creating something amazing. Yeah, I mean, honestly, I wouldn't say that they're necessarily due to the Atropa ecosystem, but the Atropa ecosystem plays a huge part in, or it seems to play a huge part in basically continuing to lift them up. So this whole concept of Hart's law, nobody's doing Hart's law better than nobody's doing Hart's law better than Maria. Nobody, not a single. Like PTGC is absolutely incredible, but it's not doing Hart's law. It's PTGC is doing Hart's law plus Pumpermentals. Nobody's doing it better than PTGC, Hart's law, Pumpermentals together. But Hart's law as a concept and the way that ratios can be manipulated to pump things in certain ways, like just look at this. Just look at this. Down, pumps Atropa. And then, where was it? And then Atropa, it's still going up. But Atropa to pDAI is going down. But because of the ratios of the bonding, it's still going up. Nobody does Hart's law better than Maria. Nobody. What's going on, Richard? What's good, BP Crypto? What's going on? Good morning, everybody. So I heard Richard's lawyers were going to advise the Trump administration on crypto. Maybe that has happened. Pump it, trumpet, pump it. Yeah, I mean, that could well have been it. Like, you know, lawyers are involved in making laws and writing laws. So I don't know. I'm reading between the lines. Put it that way. So pDAI, what's going on? Craig Blake, oh man, haven't seen you in a while. What's going on, man? So do you think the SEC should try and prosecute the people in crypto who commit fraud?
Find the lowest priced health plans at healthforcalifornia.com. Get a quote in 30 seconds. Find top carriers like Anthem, Kaiser, Blue Shield, and more. Lowest prices, simple process, healthforcalifornia.com.
Gusto is the #1 choice for small business payroll. It's fast. It's trusted. It's a great value. And Gusto does a lot more than payroll to make running your business easier, like payroll taxes and compliance, time tracking and contractor payments. And when you're ready, benefits, HR, and more. Put your business on the #1 payroll platform. Get started for free at gusto.com.
Oh, boy. You know, for me, it's not a black and white thing, Craig, because everyone is a hypocrite. I see the people that do the prosecuting are also the hypocrites. So it's like, you know, you think about something like O.J. Simpson, and for me, it was just so bleedingly obvious that he did it, but he got away with it because of the law. So it's like the law doesn't necessarily represent the truth, put it that way. So from my perspective, there is no truth in this construct of human society. All the government agencies are corrupt. I see the same things in Australia. People basically giving backdoor deals to their buddies. There was like this massive like $1 million deal that did like nothing. And it was one of like the prime minister at the time, basically just like, it was just one of his buddies, and it was some like non-profit organization that ended up getting millions and millions of dollars, and they did nothing with it. And it was just like, what the hell is going on here? So do I think that they should prosecute the people in crypto who commit fraud? That's such a difficult question for me to answer, because are the prosecutors themselves infallible from the fraud? Because everybody's defrauding everybody, everybody's lying to everybody, and everybody's a hypocrite against everybody. So, yeah, I mean, I guess it depends on the extent of the fraud. So if for example, like this blockchain was a massive fraud and we've all been duped, and it ends up just going like everybody gets rugged, and Richard Hart ends up with all these tens of millions of dollars, and it was like the biggest defrauding moment in probably in global history, then yeah, of course they should go for it. But yeah, for me, there's a fine line with the law. There's a really fine line, because it really doesn't represent the truth. It's really just it's an imperfect version of the truth. But yeah, that's a really good question. So you truly do give a lot of value in alpha. Thanks, man. Oh, thanks, Robert. All right, so I'm just going to, oh boy, there's tons of questions, tons of comments here. So maybe, glad I killed another credit card and bought some more pDAI a couple of days ago. Oh boy, that's good on you, man. Well done. So PTGC is exploding. PTGC is always exploding. There isn't a time where PTGC isn't exploding. What, actually, you know what? Let's I think, let's do this. Let's have a quick look. I just want to have a look at what, all right. So